On this edition of FedGov Today with Francis Rose, pay attention to the changes coming to your retirement account.
We know that there is interest, but there's not going to be necessarily a lot of interest. But among the people that want it, they really want it.
Jim Courtney of the Office of Participant Experience at the TSP on FedGov Today in just a moment. First, though, zero trust cyber protection and AI integration are two of the key themes on the latest Innovation in Government special sponsored by Carasoft. You'll hear from leaders from DISA, the Navy Department, the Marine Corps, the Joint Staff, and industry on Innovation in Government TechNet Cyber. You can watch it on demand anytime at fedgovtoday.com and on the FedGov Today YouTube channel. A new option is coming to the Thrift Savings Plan for younger federal employees. That means another option is retiring. Jim Kaplan's Director of External Affairs, and Jim Courtney is Director of the Office of Participant Experience at the Federal Retirement Thrift Investment Board. Jim's, welcome. It's great to have both of you on the program. Jim Kaplan, I start with you. You warned me last month that the date was coming at which the 2025 fund would retire and the 2075 Life Cycle Fund would join the roster. That date's coming pretty soon now, quickly, isn't it, Jim?
That's right. Thank you, Francis, as always. At the end of this month, we will be retiring the 2025 fund. Now, folks with funds, with their money in the 2025 fund, that'll move into our L income fund automatically. And then those joining the system, the new default system, will be the L2075 fund. And you and I have spoken about how old we'll be at that point. But the young folks today, that's what they're planning to retire in, is in 2075. And so we're setting up a fund aimed at those young participants and new members.
I'm happy for them, and I'm sad for myself, because in the 2075 fund, when that fund matures, I'll be 110, and I don't think I'll be caring very much about my retirement. Well, maybe I'll be caring an awful lot about my retirement funds at that point. I do see that you're hitting some new plan highs this month, 7.25 million accounts in the TSP, 2.8 million Roth TSP accounts. What's the significance to those numbers in your mind and in the mind of the TSP, Jim?
I think the key is that we continue to grow, right? We have the default members of the federal workforce and of the armed forces, the uniformed personnel. When they join, it's now automatic that they join. They default into one of those L funds we talked about, and they start getting their full match. And so people are joining and they're staying, and they can continue to stay throughout their careers. Even if they leave federal service or the military, those accounts are theirs as long as they maintain a minimum balance and can continue to take advantage of the TSP. And so we offer those low fees, and that high response that we've talked about in the past really just means that people continue to stay with the TSP.
Jim Courtney, welcome. It's great to meet you and talk to you. I note at this month's board meeting that was one of the focuses of the presentation that you gave, the communication that you make with participants in the TSP when they leave federal service, that they can stay in. Is that a misconception that your research has shown that a lot of people have?
Right. So we, just this time last year, we were surveying our participants who had done a full withdrawal. And 9 out of 10 members of the uniformed services and more than 9 out of 10 members of FERS civilians said they had rolled their money out for another reason. But 1 in 10 members of the uniformed services and about 5 or 6% of civilians thought they had to roll that money out. And so we thought that was a real shame. It is a message. It is a message throughout the life cycle of the participant experience, that just because you're leaving federal service, you don't have to leave the TSP. But what we wanted to do was, what could we do to reach that 1 in 10 that still thought they had to roll it out? And so one of the things we did is we created a video for members of the uniformed services, and we worked with American Forces Network to run that video on American Forces Network to get those eyeballs of those members of the uniformed services and their spouses and their families, to let them know just because they're leaving service doesn't mean they have to leave the TSP. You can stay with the TSP. We do email outreach. We did targeted emails to participants age 50 to 69, and a constant theme throughout those emails was that you can stay with the TSP. Back in February, we put out a fact sheet. It's important for participants of all ages to know that just because you might be leaving federal service, doesn't mean you have to leave the TSP. And we talk about the compelling reasons to stay, the low expenses, the simple investment options, the fact that we are fiduciaries, the convenience of having your retirement here at the TSP. We encourage people to roll their other money into the TSP, have it all in one place, enjoying all the benefits of being in the TSP.
I read from the materials that you circulate for folks, you can stay with the TSP even if you leave your federal job. You don't have to take any money from your TSP savings until you reach the age where you have to start taking IRS required minimum distributions. You can continue to allow your investments to grow in the TSP and take advantage of the TSP's low expenses, and you'll always have secure access to manage your investments online in your My Account. And by my account, I'm using the language of the TSP, not my personal account. It strikes me that you probably put a lot of thought and effort into the way that was phrased, so that it was really easy for people to understand it too, Jim Courtney.
Correct. We're always listening to our participants. We do message testing. We will try things out on groups of participants, either one-on-one. We'll set up one-on-one interviews where we can talk to participants. We'll do focus groups with 8 or 10 participants, and we'll explain something, and we'll say, now, what does that mean to you? And they'll tell us what it means to them. And if what we're hearing back isn't exactly what we want the message to land, well, that's our opportunity to change it. And then through emails that we send out, we'll send out an educational email, and then at the end we'll have a question, and people will respond to that question, and they'll give us their feedback. Another great thing where the rubber hits the road, we have a cadre in my shop of what we call trainers, TSP trainers. They go out and they teach live classes to our participants. They are a never-ending source of information on what participants are asking about, and what they're concerned about, and what they're confused about. Our TSP trainers are the folks that help clear the air in a classroom setting or in a webinar setting. But to even broaden that out further, they help us with pain points.
When you take those pain points and turn them into something that's a solution to whatever was causing that pain, how do you go about then feeding that back to the participant so the participant connects, hey, I had this issue, and this is something that they did about it?
Yeah, I think that the key here for us is constant communications. We have regular newsletters that go out to our participants. And let me take a moment to mention something about our most recent board meeting, which is we have something called the Employee Thrift Advisory Council, which is made up of employee unions, management organizations, and a representative from the uniformed services. And for us, that's another important channel of communications. We hear from the representatives of our participants, and then we share that information back with them. So not only do we send it in direct emails and newsletters like Jim's shop talks about, but we send it out to their parent organizations. So they not only see it in a TSP email, they see it in an email from the Association of Federal Government Employees or the Department of Defense itself's Office of Personnel. So they're getting it from multiple sources. We're constantly trying to find new ways and new channels to communicate with our members.
Jim Courtney, one of the things that Jim Kaplan told me about last month was the Roth in-plan conversion that's coming in January 2026. And if someone wants to learn more about that, I'm going to refer you back to the podcast that's on fedgovtoday.com when Jim and I talked about that last month. But Jim Courtney, I note that a calculator is coming for folks to do that conversion. How do you determine what kind of change or what kind of impact is sufficient to want to generate a tool like this conversion tool? I imagine there are a lot of things that people would like to know about or like help with, and not all of them necessarily rise to you and your team putting together a custom tool or putting together some type of special resource to be able to help them.
Sure. So a couple things on the Roth in-plan conversion. The first thing to sort of talk about are a couple of data points as to why we made the decision to offer it. ETAC, there were organizations within ETAC that said that they had members that were very interested in us offering Roth in-plan conversion. We actually did a survey of our participants, and the first question we asked was, do you know what a Roth in-plan conversion is? About 1 in 4 of our participants said they did know what a Roth in-plan conversion was. And so of that 1 in 4, we said, okay, well, now that you know what it is, or because you know what it is, how likely do you think you are to use it? And roughly 1 in 3 said that they would be inclined to use it. So there's what they say and there's what they do. Vanguard, about a third of Vanguard plans offer Roth in-plan conversion. And over a 10-year period, about 4% of participants in those plans took advantage of the feature. So so we know that there is interest, but there's not going to be necessarily a lot of interest. But among the people that want it, they really want it. So the other thing that we're fortunate to have is a record keeper that works with plans around the country and really around the world. And so they have a lot of experience offering Roth in-plan conversion in other plans for which they are the record keeper. And so they are a useful source for us of information about what works and doesn't work. And so we thought we would want a calculator for our website for people doing their homework on Roth in-plan conversion. What in fact we're going to get? We're going to get 2 calculators. We're going to get a calculator on the public side of the website, which you can sort of play around with and put in your own numbers. What the calculator will do inside my account, inside the secure area, it'll auto-populate. It'll let you know how much money you have, in fact, eligible to convert. And then from there, you can take the steps. We think autofill is really a best practice. It reduces mistakes, reduces participant error. So we're very excited to be able to offer autofill on the Roth in-plan calculator and the Roth in-plan workflow once we take it, once we unroll it next January.
Gentlemen, it's great to talk to you and learn about what's happening at the TSP. Thanks very much for talking to me today.
Thanks for having us today, Francis. We appreciate it.
You can read more about the TSP on today's show page at fedgovtoday.com. The Coast Guard's underway with its digital modernization journey. The Guard's plan may look familiar to people who follow how military services are modernizing. The Coast Guard's Assistant Commandant for C4IT and Chief Information Officer, Rear Admiral Rusty Dash, will tell you why the Guard's doing it the way it's doing it. You can see him Sunday morning at 10:30 on FedGov Today TV on ABC7 in Washington and simulcast on the FedGov Today YouTube channel. The next FedGov Today podcast is coming next Tuesday. The Technology Modernization Fund's either building a new model or going back to its roots, depending how you look at it. Former federal CIO Suzette Kent will explain on Tuesday's show. You can listen to every FedGov Today podcast anytime you want on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on demand at fedgovtoday.com. I'm Francis Rose. Thanks for listening.